Welcome to Evolve 2022, the annual digital marketing conference organized by the Asia Pacific Institute of Digital Marketing. Today's track, this session is titled as Embracing Fintech Surge in 2022. The title of this topic for the next 20 minutes is going to be the path from a fintech startup to become a $39 billion global business. Let me first introduce myself. My name is Suranga Priyashantha. I am a growth and a digital strategist, startup board advisor, trainer, consultant, and a mentor. This is my 18th year in digital growth marketing, and I live in Sydney for the last 11 years. And I'm the founder of Asia Pacific Institute of Digital Marketing. I'm also the I was also the founding growth marketing director of Afterpay, which is going to be the topic today. The path from a fintech startup to become a $39 billion global business. In other words, Afterpay success story. Now, if you haven't heard about Afterpay, Afterpay is probably the world leader or the inventor of modern buy now, pay later category. Consumer credit existed before Afterpay, but Afterpay was the company who invented this concept of limited installment, interest-free payment method, which gives you access to finance, your ability to buy things online, and company is not doing a credit check. And it's a low risk, high return, a very successful fintech startup in the world. And I was fortunate enough to join the company as their founding growth marketing director a couple of years ago. So my session today is going to be based on most of the learning, especially as an insider. I experienced in this company. And the reason why Afterpay story, I picked up Afterpay story for this session is last year, actually a couple of months ago, Afterpay had a grand exit where Afterpay was acquired by another global tech company, financial tech company called Square, which is a company founded by the Twitter founder. So they acquired Afterpay for $39 billion, which is considered as the biggest acquisition or the merger deal that happened in the entire history of Australia. And it is the biggest fintech deal happened in the entire world. So it's a global success story, a very popular success story, got a lot of attention, global attention. So there are a lot of things to learn. So in the next couple of minutes, in the 15 minutes or so, I'll try my level best to summarize most of the important learnings I have from this company and share with you all today. For any business, not just for Afterpay, I identify these 7 factors as building blocks for hypergrowth. The most important thing, as I understand and as I encourage you to think of as well, having a very clear business purpose, the reason why your business exists, and then mission and value statements. Now, Afterpay, especially the founders, especially Nick Molnar, who had the concept, founded the concept back in 2014 as a young college undergrad. No, I think just passed out at that time. So he saw the big picture. He was able to see the future of this, especially as a youngster millennial who experienced the global financial crisis, understood the thinking patterns of that young generation. So he had a vision. And from day one, he wanted to follow his vision. He wanted to realize his vision. And especially, he was against the credit card concept. I'm not saying that he was against the traditional banking industry, but he was against the credit card concept because his thinking was, if credit cards, especially banks, are truly customer-centric, the credit card industry shouldn't exist today. The reason why credit card industry has been successful is they keep charging interest over a 12 months period. If you don't pay your credit card bill, you can end up paying nearly 20-30% of interest. So there's an undue advantage companies are taking from you because of your inability, financial difficulties, and they keep offering you credit, increased credit, and they want to spend more and more and not pay, and then they can earn. So that was the kind of concept, and Afterpay concept was completely against the concept. So Afterpay wanted to create a category, which I'll talk about in the next slide. So there was a very clear vision, very clear purpose. And even today, if you look at the Afterpay website, there's a very clear mission statement saying creating an economy where everyone wins, which is the fundamental purpose, mission of the business. And there are a lot of other guiding principles the company is relying on to achieve this purpose. And based on this, the company has created a very friendly, unique culture. Everyone joining the company is very proud for being able to give their contribution to achieve this success, to make the purpose a reality. So everyone has a shared value, shared thinking, shared culture, and everyone is equally, energetically working towards achieving this mission. I could clearly see, since I was part of the company for a couple of years, every meetings, every company, all hands, there were specific messages given to the staff members or message and a purpose given to the staff members to make sure that everything we do are supporting the achievement of our mission. Second, product market fit first, and then total addressable market. Now, Afterpay created a market category which didn't exist before. And it developed, built on it, and the category is owned by the company. But the very first, most important thing is understanding that since this is a new innovative business, do we have a product market fit, which is the very popular startup, especially tech startup concept. Is there a market for this solution we build? Sometimes it takes time to understand, to achieve product market fit. But luckily, Afterpay was able to realize that the solution we built is becoming increasingly popular, especially within a specific demographic, specific target audience in the country. And therefore, we initially want to target that audience and make sure that that audience understand the value proposition that we are building, that we are creating. And then we started thinking about the expansion, the category expansion. So initially it was very popular within the fashion beauty category. Then we expanded into electronics and lots of other categories. So I'm not saying that every business should follow the concept, but when you realize that you have a very specific audience and you are becoming popular among a specific audience, it is very important to make sure that you are able to communicate that value to that audience. You are able to sustain that success in that category by introducing innovative new solutions, expanding into other categories. And then we started applying that blueprint for our global expansion as well. As you can see in the next screen, this, we started from Australia, New Zealand. As you can see, the curve was sort of going up. So we started learning, and there was a time that we were sort of reaching the peak. But at the same time, with the success stories, we were able to introduce the same concept to the US market. From day one, it was a massive success story. And then to the European, especially UK market, North American market. So there was a very systematic approach to first deliver the most important value to the core target audience and add more value to that audience, learn from it, expand into other categories and other countries. Next slide. Third aspect, having a very clear, balanced focus on your consumers and your merchants, so in other words, the partners in this case, because Afterpay as a solution payment method cannot be communicated to the customers in our case without the help of our merchants. So if you have used a buy now pay later solution, you know, like online, you go to the checkout product page, you see the payment option, pay in 4 installments, pay in 3 installments or whatever. And then you go to checkout, you select the payment method. So that is the first time consumers understand, okay, there's a new solution, innovative solution. So without the help from our merchant network, we realized that it was going to be very difficult. So the early stage success was purely driven by our concentrated effort on building our merchant network. We were attracting hundreds and thousands and millions of customers with this strategy. Then we started building our own customer base, who are Afterpay unique customers or Afterpay fans. So we then started shifting our focus to consumer marketing. But at the same time, we didn't lose our efforts on merchant marketing. So what you see on the screen here is the center, like, you know, we have two fronts to win, merchant and our consumers. The most important thing here is next circle, the product, the innovative, technical, or the product or the platform. So we continue to add value to our product, whether it's merchant product or our consumer product, innovative value additions. How do you realize that value? How do you communicate that value to your audience, whether it's merchants or customers? In the case of merchants, it was sales strategy. We had a dedicated, concentrated, dedicated staff who had concentrated efforts on communicating these values to our merchant network, and then all the other functions were supporting. And on the consumer side, product was still important, the website or the app, mobile app, and then all marketing efforts, whether it's growth marketing or brand marketing, consumer marketing, co-marketing, partner marketing, B2B marketing. There were different aspects of marketing strategies that we used to attract and retain our customers, and all the other functions for supporting. This was one of the very unique differentiating factor in our business model. Our reliance, our decision-making, data-driven decision-making. We, as a company, invested a lot on our data capabilities, understanding different data types. You have consumer data, you have transaction data, what type of things they buy, what kind of merchants they transact with, product data, and the type of merchants, merchant categories, merchant when I say categories, like, you know, type of products they sell. So the wealth of information available, and then data instrumentation and a reporting platform, or in other words, tool platforms, investing in these capabilities, and then skill and cultures, internal teams, data scientists, data analysts, and then building different statistical models and behavioral models, predictive data models to understand our business opportunities. So there was a lot of investment in this area. Any business, especially in tech field, dealing with thousands and, you know, hundreds and thousands or even millions of customers, it is obvious that you have to invest in these capabilities. Afterpay success was very importantly and largely due to our ability to derive insights from our data capabilities. The flywheel, or in other words, the network effect. Now, this is a very interesting and important concept, especially in today's startup world. Global successful startups, knowingly or unknowingly, have applied this network effect concept. And to be very honest, I don't think the company at the very early stage, Afterpay, at the early stage, we knew why the company is so successful. I don't think we had a very clear idea. What is the concept behind this, like this flywheel effect or the network effect? I don't think we clearly understood. And later on, by analyzing our business, our model, the customer behavior, we were able to very clearly define what was happening. So I'll take the next 2-3 minutes to clearly explain this. Now, flywheel is actually, if you look at the whole business as a wheel, there are two dynamics. One, things adding force to the wheel so that it can spin fast, and then things adding friction to this wheel so that it won't move or it will slow down. So we were able to very clearly identify factors that are data-driven, in a data-driven way, identify the factors which are adding force to this model and also friction points. So I'll quickly go through these points. Very first thing was our new vendor acquisition or the merchant acquisition. As I mentioned, consumer focus and vendor focus or the merchant focus. Initially, a lot of efforts was put on acquiring merchants, because we know when you acquire merchants, we acquire customers as well. That is the second aspect. When you acquire merchants, if you put a lot of efforts, concentrated efforts on acquiring customers, then you know it is going to acquire acquiring merchants, it is going to acquire customers for your business as well. And when you have merchants, when you have customers, then you're creating a platform where customers have merchants to buy with. Merchants have a loyal customer base. So that is called the network usage. Very interestingly, what we saw was, as you can see in the second middle chart, the longer the time customers stayed with us, their number of purchases with us increased. So from 2000 customers who joined 2017, by 2020, they were making 20 transactions within a year. All this information is publicly available. So in their first year, they are less active. The second year, more active. Third year, even more active. So the longer the time the customer stay with you, they are more active on the platform. And active customers, so it's not just one customer. You need to increase the active customer base on the platform. So there are specific life cycle marketing strategies to do this. And then how all these dynamics increasing your brand equity, brand advocacy. One interesting thing we realized was we had two successful Facebook pages, not that the company created. Our followers, our loyal customers created two different Facebook groups, one called We Love Afterpay and the other one called Afterpay Obsession. Both have over 120,000, 130,000 members. They became our advocates. We didn't have to do influencer marketing. They did influencer marketing for us. So since you have been doing your activities, like as I mentioned, understood the flywheel factors, the friction points, the force, used all data capabilities to measure different metrics and support the flywheel, our brand organically became our brand asset, and our customers became our advocates. And so we didn't actually have to spend a lot of money to do our marketing activities because customers did that for us. And finally, merchant frequency. How many merchants are active within the platform and who are actually driving business for us. And then 6-factor structure, having a structure that is supporting all these functions. I know I have very limited time, so I don't spend a lot of time explaining this, but it is very important that you create a structure that is supporting your business purpose without considering the hierarchies, groups different, like, creating marketing, say, it is still important to have these kind of functions, but what is important is creating cross-functional teams with the right kind of decision-making autonomy, budget, support, and resources. So we call them like tiger teams or mission teams. Cross-functional teams was one of the biggest success factor for us. And finally, growth mindset and culture. Experimentation-based innovations. We had very clear strategy roadmap to introduce innovations through experiments. We kept doing experiments. Most of the experiments are failing, but we didn't want to call them like failures, because we know that is, like as Thomas Edison in his famous experimentation, work. He failed 10,000 times, but he never said he failed. He knew how the product wouldn't work, like 10,000 ways how the product wouldn't work. That was the kind of growth mindset we had. So these were the success factors for us as a business. So that brings the end to our session. And please connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'm really happy to engage with you even future to talk about topics like this.